message, send me your address, and I'll send you out a starter kit right here. Yep, more used Porsche parts. Well, in the world of Porsches, owners are always trying to make these cars as light as possible. I just made this one lighter. Yes, I did. What you saw, I did a rough cutout of the two floors, or the right side, left side floorboards. I'm gonna replace the whole entire floor, but what I did is I gave myself access to get my head up inside, and I can work inside from underneath. Fat boys don't do good underneath dashes. Plus, I can't even reach some of the areas. All right, so for those guys that are wanting to start a Porsche project, hey, just drop me a message, send me your address, and I'll send you out a starter kit right here. Yep, more used Porsche parts. All right, here's a trick for you. This is what I do when I'm replacing a floor in a car. Now, this Porsche has multiple spots where you would have to find spot welds and drill out. Each one of these little shiny flanges is it's not part of the floor, but it's part of where the floor is welded in at. I go in and I'll cut out a big section to where I can stick my head up in here and not get bumped around by the floor. Then I'll go and cut the little sections out. After I get everything rough cut out, I go back, and where I've left floor in here, I'll take a grinder, a flappy disc, whatever I've got that's easy, and grind the floor layer back off. You'll eventually see it. It'll become paper thin, and you'll see your spot welds. Just hit those spot welds, and the layer of floor will come off. That'll give you a great spot to put your own pinch welds in, or your own spot welds, whatever you're doing, however you're welding it in. So that's just a tip or a trick that I do. Now, it may not be your way, it may not be the best way. I can guarantee you'll change your shirt 3 or 4 times, you'll wash your hair 3 or 4 times before you get it all out, if you've got it on a lift or you're laying under the car, because there's a lot of grinding. But I would rather grind these areas than try to find a spot weld, because those spot welds end up being huge by the time you find the right one. That's just how I do it. May not be the easiest way, it's just my way. Let's get back at this. All right, now you can see that I punched some new spot weld holes on the channel of the floor from the top side. Now, don't worry about this, guys. That weight reduction is gonna get fixed. It's one bite at a time. Then I went ahead and punched some new holes on the new panel that we're gonna put in that's gonna be welded to this edge right here. Now this side right here is gonna get replaced, all right, like we did the other side. But it's gonna have to go up there. We're gonna go ahead and weld it in right here. That's nice and solid. What I should have done is cleaned all of this up in here, get all that glue off of there from the carpet. Now that's the body color, guys. That's not rust. But it would have been a great time to go ahead and clean all that up, get the rest of this installation right here off, spray all that. It may not happen now, but it's solid, and that's the way it was from the factory right there. We'll put it back that way if we need to. But right now, you're the only ones that will ever see it. All right, so the next step that I'm gonna do, I got all my holes punched to spot weld everything. Before I do that, I'll go ahead and hit weld through primer all around my edges. And then I'm gonna take some 3M undercoating and spray up in here where the heater ducts and stuff are. Now this heater duct had a couple of weak spots in it, so I went ahead and put some HVAC aluminum tape on it. But here's what I'm using, weld through primer. I think it's got some kind of zinc or some kind of corrosion resistant properties to it, and also you can weld through it and it'll be a bond, extra layer of protection. All right, let's get that done. All right, weld through primer, undercoating. Tell you, if that undercoating won't make a professional car builder out of you, then I don't know what. All right, so I've addressed and cleaned and checked all of the brake lines and fuel lines that run through this tunnel because they're really hard to deal with later. Check, make sure that all the cables, shift cables and linkage and all that stuff was in good shape. But man, it is nice and clean up in there. And visually, I think everything checks out good. So we're gonna move on and get this floor in now. Then we gotta go around and patch all of the stuff that's still broke. Due to my extremely strict no profanity rule on my channel, the last 3 hours of this video have been deleted. No, all kidding aside, this was a booger bear to set up in there. The pan has a lip on it. The car floor has a lip on it. You can't trim either one of them. So yeah, this is a really good piece, by the way, and it probably fits the car. So it took a little bit of time, got it all in there, got it screwed in place. All the gaps look good. A little bit of trimming on one area, but it's ready to weld. So that's the next step, get this thing welded. But it's extremely late tonight, so I think I'm gonna grab it in the morning. I hate going to bed after welding. So yeah, see you guys in the morning. The piece under the board right here, the board's there to hold the car up because there's no floor to put the lift on. So this is the part right here that we're gonna have to make, that where the pedal box is. Let's check out this other side. Looks pretty good. And we've got to repair a couple of sections right here where there was a toolbox in the back seat area with a rag. And when I pulled the rag up, a section of the floor came with it. So it was isolated to right there. Actually, it was a lot smaller than that. I just cut that out. Now all this nasty stuff up here is just undercoating. The rest of the floor is super solid. So let's get this welded in. We'll get this undercoating off, and then we'll repaint all of this the body color. I can't wait for that. Well, we're nowhere near finished with this old Porsche, but I am one giant step closer. We do now have a very solid floor, fully welded. Time to move on to the next spot. So we've got to make the next spot, which is the foot pedal box, where the pedals actually bolt. So we've finished the pedals, and they're working not the way they need to be working, because they need to be shifting gears and stopping the car, but the pedals are done. Now we need to build the box that they actually bolt to. All right, I did not want to buy that $400 and something piece to fix it because I only need about 3 inches. We're gonna make that, it's gonna be simple. Get that in, then we'll get the front suspension on. But that's gonna be in the next video. So guys, as always, thanks for following, thanks for watching. We're gonna have this old girl going down the road very soon. Now get out in the garage and go build something. See you guys on the next episode. I gotta go find some coffee somewhere. Yep. Cheeseburger, hot dog.